So what I'm sure happened is over the course of the last couple of months, things have completely broken down between the two of them. And so now they're talking to each other through attorneys. And Blake Lively, feeling, I guess, like she had nothing else to lose because the friendship had broken down and Taylor was so obviously not on her side anymore. The last card that Blake has is what? To threaten. And that's what Blake Lively does. And that's what Blake Lively knows how to do. A moment of silence as we mourn the friendship of Blake Lively and Taylor Swift. In pace requiescat. So this is not just an uncomfortable situation anymore with Blake Lively and Taylor Swift. Apparently, their relationship has totally broken down over this Baldoni stuff to the point where we found out today in a court filing by Brian Friedman, a letter by Brian Friedman to the judge explaining why Baldoni's team needs subpoena access to Taylor Swift and to her communications with Blake Lively. So first off, we learned that Blake Lively asked Taylor Swift to delete all of their communications because she was afraid, I guess, of some of it getting her in trouble as regards the Baldoni thing, right? And so she asked Taylor Swift to do that, to possibly destroy evidence, basically. But the real shocker, and this is the big bombshell that we're getting today, is that apparently Blake Lively, her attorney, she had her attorney send a demand letter to Taylor Swift's attorney demanding that Taylor Swift make a statement of support for Blake Lively, and that if she didn't, basically Blake's lawyer suggested that Blake might leak some communications, some private communications text between herself and Taylor. For what reason, we don't know. Maybe some embarrassing communications, maybe some incriminating communications regarding Baldoni. I would think more leaking communications where Taylor Swift is supporting Blake Lively and supporting her version of things, perhaps. But I don't know. It's baffling. It's absolutely baffling why Blake Lively would have her lawyer threaten Taylor Swift. Now, this is really incredible because you would think that the last thing that someone in Blake Lively's position would want to do would be to basically threaten not only her former good friend, but threaten a more powerful celebrity than herself. And to me, this just shows the level of brazenness and the audacity, the narcissism that we're dealing with here, apparently, with Blake and Ryan Reynolds, where they think that they should dictate to Taylor Swift, to someone of Taylor Swift's caliber, dictate to her what she's going to do or threaten her. But it's very hard to believe that Brian Friedman would go out on this kind of a limb and would put the kinds of accusations that he put in this letter that came out today, knowing that it would be made public, put this in a letter written to a judge because it's serious. If he's just fucking around here with this, it's a big deal, and he's in some trouble. Not to mention he's alienated the judge in this case. So it is just highly unlikely that Brian Friedman is getting this out of thin air, is making this up. And Brian Friedman says in this letter that he has an excellent source on this. Now, here's the letter. I'm going to read just the relevant parts. So he's asking Baldoni's side. Brian Friedman is asking for the subpoena. Says the subpoena aims to obtain discovery relating to witness tampering and evidence spoliation. Specifically, the Wayfarer part. So basically, they're trying to determine if there were attempts to tamper with evidence, such as Blake Lively apparently asking Taylor Swift to delete tweets. Says Specifically, the Wayfarer Parties Council are informed and believe, based on information from a source who is highly likely to have reliable information, that A, Ms. Lively requested that Taylor Swift delete their text messages, and B, Michael Gottlieb of Wilkie Farr, counsel for the Lively defendants, okay, this is Blake Lively's attorney, contacted a Venable attorney who represents Ms. Swift. Okay, so we've got what he's saying here is we've got Blake Lively's attorney contacting Taylor Swift's attorney at some point and demanded that Ms. Swift release a statement of support for Ms. Lively, intimating that if Ms. Swift refused to do so, private text messages of a personal nature in Ms. Lively's possession would be released. The Wayfarer Parties Council are further informed and believe that a representative of Ms. Swift addressed these inappropriate and apparently extortionate threats in at least one written communication transmitted to Mr. Gottlieb, Blake Lively's attorney. It is those communications that the Wayfarer parties, that Baldoni and Friedman, seek to obtain by way of a subpoena as they would evidence an attempt to intimidate and coerce a percipient witness in this litigation. I mean, this is serious stuff now. We're talking about, I mean, the words here, extortion, witness intimidation, coercion. Well, we're getting into Diddy territory now. Uh-oh. Any baby oil bottles at Blake Lively's house? All right, it's joke. It's joke. This is some serious shit. And again, what I'm just agog and aghast at is that Blake Lively would take this kind of a hostile position toward Taylor Swift. So I'm assuming that there was some space between the initial friendly and not so friendly request to delete communications, and then the attorney from the letter from Blake Lively's attorney to Taylor Swift's attorney, right? So I'm assuming that what happened between point A and point B is that there was a complete breakdown of communication between these two. And again, probably because Taylor Swift is pissed off at getting dragged into this thing. I'm not saying she's innocent either, right? But from her perspective, Taylor Swift is pissed off about getting dragged into this thing. And as things get more and more serious, deeper and deeper, Taylor Swift is being booed at ball games and stuff like that, right? She's getting some really bad, for the first time in her life, getting some really bad PR and some stuff that goes straight to the heart of her character, which she's never had to deal with before, Taylor Swift. So as I've said before, as I said in earlier videos, if you don't think that Taylor Swift, from her perspective, getting dragged into this thing by Blake Lively is not blowing up Taylor Swift's world and is not causing major problems, does not have her super stressed out. If you don't think that she's not super stressed out with this shit and upset as hell about it, then you're wrong. I don't care how, like I said, how big she is, how much money she has, whatever. This is serious shit, and it's seriously embarrassing shit, and it's seriously bad PR. So what I'm sure happened is over the course of the last couple of months, things have completely broken down between the two of them. And so now they're talking to each other through attorneys. And Blake Lively, feeling, I guess, like she had nothing else to lose because the friendship had broken down and Taylor was so obviously not on her side anymore. The last card that Blake has is what? To threaten. And that's what Blake Lively does. And that's what Blake Lively knows how to do, is threaten. And it's worked on so many other occasions in her life that Blake now just cannot get it through her head that it's not working now. That this is that the effectiveness of her threats and her bullying has ceased. And so this is straight from the Blake Lively playbook. At first, you insinuate yourself into someone's life in a sweet way. And then when things go sour, or if they go sour, then you start, or if you don't get your way, you start bullying and you get your lawyers to bully. But the idea that Blake Lively had her lawyers bullying Taylor Swift with these kinds of threats, it is just crazy. And if you think that stuff like this does not get around Hollywood, you're wrong again. Because Taylor Swift is very powerful and she's very well connected. And if she's getting treated this way by Blake Lively, you know that she's telling all kinds of people around her, and it's getting around the whole celebrity network, that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are fucking bullies and that you don't want to be anywhere near this disaster zone. You don't want to be anywhere near this disaster zone if you are a celebrity or someone of any status. And I've been saying that too. It's like quicksand. You get anywhere near the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds quicksand, you're going in. So at this point, let's just say it definitively, okay? Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are totally iced out. And I'm iced out of Hollywood, iced out of proper society, whatever. Now, they may keep getting invitations because they've got money and they've got movie deals and they've got Deadpool. And they'll keep showing their faces anywhere that they can. And they'll have maybe one or two friends that stick next to them, stick beside them, and a lot of like hangers on. But this is just a huge indication that their cachet in Hollywood has just blown the fuck up. It's just imploded. Because you're having to send threatening letters to Taylor Swift, you're already to that low rung on the ladder, then man, things are bad. Things are bad for you. Like Hitler in Berlin when the Russians are coming. So crazy. So many things in this, you all. I've said y'all have said this many times, but so many things in this situation have just surprised the hell out of me, and this one does as well. I'm not surprised that things have gotten icy between Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. I mean, that was inevitable, and it's kind of like what's the sociological experiment where you've got the two prisoners and who's going to turn against the other one first and all of that, the prisoner's dilemma, right? So it was inevitable that these two were going to break apart under the stress of this whole thing. But what is shocking to me is that in such a short amount of time, Blake Lively and her team, they would take it to this level. They would take it to DEFCON, whatever, right? Like that is really surprising, and that they would not see any problem with completely alienating one of the most successful and most powerful people in Hollywood and in the entertainment industry. So anyway, Friedman continues in this letter. He says, as stated, the Wayfarer Parties Council are in active discussions with Venable. Now, remember, Venable is Taylor Swift's attorney, right? Firm, her legal firm. So what's going on now is that Baldoni's side is in communications with Taylor Swift's attorneys, and they're trying to figure out how to proceed because of this huge grenade that Blake Lively has dropped into this whole situation with her extortionate, coercive threats and schemes. Wow. I just can't believe, what continues. Let me say one thing. I've been thinking a lot about sliding doors lately, and I've been thinking about sliding doors for two different celebrities who are in a hella deep shit right now. And I've been thinking about sliding doors for two different celebrities who are in a hella deep shit right now. And you want to know who those celebrities are? And each of these celebrities had a moment, had a window of opportunity where they could have chosen not to get on the train or to get on the train. And they took the other way. They made the other decision, and they've been in a hell of a lot of shit from it. And it's amazing to think that there's this parallel universe where they're just going about their happy lives. Let me tell you who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Blake Lively, and I'm talking about Sean Combs. Sean Combs could have written a check for $20 million. As it turns out, that's what he paid Cassie in the lawsuit. Could have written a check for $20 million when she was trying to get that from him and was trying to get an apology from him and a little recognition. He could have gone that way, and none of this would be happening. None of this. There would be no federal indictment, no arrest, no gossip about Diddy and this and that and Bieber and all of this, and he would be a free man. I don't know what idiotic lawyer advised him to tell Cassie to get lost. But anyway, there's a whole parallel universe where he's still out there on his yachts and his parties and all of that if he would have just been a little more realistic and written the check. And the same thing with Ryan and Blake. They made so much money from the It Ends With Us movie, and they could have made more money. They made so much money from It Ends With Us. And that was such a smashing success for them and for Blake as a businesswoman and an actress and all the good PR that she was starting to get from that. I know things have been rough earlier in the summer, in the fall, social media and all of that, but she was coming through it. That was going to be behind her. People were moving on to the next story, and for no reason except, I don't know, some kind of sadistic marital exercise between Blake and Ryan. They decided to target this man and this company, Wayfarer, and try to destroy them. And so there's another sliding doors moment, and there's a parallel universe out there where Blake and Ryan are going about their happy asshole lives. Ditto for Diddy on that. Isn't it interesting how often people are the architects of their own demise? But I'm going to continue covering this story, as you know, and I'm doing everything I can. I'm out there going to protests and movie premieres, and I'm making official complaints with the Bar Association. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check that out. And I'm waiting for a response and an update any day now. So if you appreciate my work, if you get something out of it, remember, I don't work for anybody else. I'm not a part of a team. I'm just out here on my own doing this. And your support really helps. My links are below. PayPal and membership not required to tip, just a credit or debit card, and you appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Check out my work. More to come. Bye.